Hi everybody, it's me, Lisa T, coming at you with some positive energy. Lighten up your life with Lisa. So I just felt inspired. This is just random tonight. Due to the dreary weather that we're having here in Toronto, day after day after day after day since like mid-November. We've had 3 sunny days. I think that's what they've actually reported. So due to that and the darkness that I've been feeling, I don't know if you've been feeling it, but an exhaustion and a darkness, and when there's a darkness in my environment, I tend to internalize it a lot, and then I start to feel like I'm the darkness. But I definitely believe that everything happens for a good reason, and I think this time has kind of reminded me of lockdown time. Although during COVID lockdown time, I actually was thriving, and I knew immediately, and it was like time to meditate. And I mean, we had all this time off. That we were demanded to take off. So it was a very unique time. I haven't found that exuberance in this dark time of this November, December, January that we're having. But I'm doing this video right now because I'm inspired, because I know that there's a good reason for this. And I think there's something in the stars and the planets and the astrology that's all of those things are asking us to go deep within. And, when it's dreary and it's dark and we start to feel that internally, if we're on a spiritual journey, we can use that as an access point to see what's still inside that we need to unearth. What darkness is still inside of us that we can bring to the light, and what darkness can we sit in? Spirituality is not for the faint of heart. Spirituality is about facing the darkness. It's about facing that tough stuff and not avoiding things, and experiencing the wholeness of this experience of humanness. So in the midst of that, I thought, let's do a reading and see what comes up. Maybe I can incorporate some breath work, some stretching. Who knows what's going to come up with my evolution in what I've been doing here on this channel and in my career. So we're going to do a reading from my amazing book, The Language of Letting Go by Beattie. So we're doing January 25th. Step 1. No mistake there. Okay, so let's start at the first step here. So step 1, so there's 12 steps of recovery, and those are consistent with Overeaters Anonymous, Gamblers Anonymous, Alcoholics Anonymous, Codependents Anonymous. CODA is the short term for that. Al-Anon, that's for people who are in close relation with alcoholics. So it's the same 12-step program. There was one book, but then all the other programs, one book for Alcoholics Anonymous, but then all the other 12-step programs adopted those same 12 steps. So step 1 in the big book from Alcoholics Anonymous is: we admitted we were powerless over alcohol and that our lives had become unmanageable. So we can switch that word, alcohol. So we admitted we are powerless over any sort of thing that draws us in that's not good for us, that we do over and over and over, any kind of addictive behavior. So isolation, Netflixing, if we're drawn, or overeating, or sleeping too much, even shopping, spending money we don't have. So when we get into a habitual state of using that as a coping mechanism, one of those things, when we're using that as a coping mechanism to avoid feeling the uncomfortable feelings we're feeling, if we're using that, then we recognize that we're powerless, because we start to use it as a knee-jerk reaction. We just start shopping just to I gotta feel good. We just start to eat, without thinking. It's an unconscious behavior, and then it begins to take power over us because we can't stop it, because it's soothing an uncomfortable feeling, and we're using it as a coping mechanism. So we get in a loop, and we end up losing power to stop doing this behavior. So overeating, I think, is a big one that I think a lot of us can relate to, when we're just eating, just not because we're hungry or anything, but just to soothe ourselves. So admitted we are powerless over that thing, and that our lives have become unmanageable. So it's not necessarily that the external life is unmanageable. Everything can be going okay, but it's the inside, my perceptions and my experience as I go through my day-to-day life, is that unmanageable? Am I obsessing about something? Do I have anxiety? Do I have depression? Do I have overthinking, or thinking something over and over and over? Am I dwelling on something? Am I ruminating on something? So that internal life, has that become unmanageable? So we admitted we are powerless over the thing, and that our lives have become unmanageable. So we have to admit, you know what, this is unmanageable. I'm powerless right now. Like I am not able to stop this bad behavior that's not serving me, and things feel unmanageable inside. Okay, so there are many different versions of the first step for recovering codependence. Some of us admit powerlessness over alcohol or another person's alcoholism. So we admit we're powerless over that person. We can't make them do something. We admit we're powerless. This is one of the things too, and I've talked about this in multiple others. We're powerless over people, places, and things. We really are. Like we can't. We think that we have a illusion of a semblance of control of things when we're manipulating and trying to control things, and we think we're doing a good job, but it ends up biting us in the ass at some point. So we have to come to that conclusion ourselves and admit to ourselves, you know what, I recognize I'm powerless over people, places, and things. What I do have power over is my reactions to life when I'm doing the work. So some of us admit powerless over alcohol or another's alcoholism. Some of us admit powerlessness over people, some over the impact of growing up in an alcoholic family. So we can admit powerlessness, so it's just kind of like I was explaining it, over a bunch of different things, okay? So we admit those things. One of the most significant words in this first step is the word we. We don't do this alone. Hence why I popped on here to do a video, because I feel like I'm sharing with you all. I feel like I'm not doing this alone. When someone comments or gives me a thumbs up or subscribes, hits the subscribe button, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm not alone. And it like, that gives me a sense of hope and a sense of comfort, because I know I'm not alone, because we can often feel like we're alone when we're in our darkness in some way, or when we're in a coping mechanism, or when we're in a trigger. We feel like we're alone and this is only happening to me. No, we're not alone. This is part of the human experience, but we don't know that unless we reach out and we talk about it. So we is an important word there. So we, one of the most significant words in the first step is the word we. We come together because of a common problem. The problem is I'm not coping with life well. I'm unmanageable in my thinking. I'm having an unhealthy reaction to life. I'm having, unhealthy behaviors are coming up, and it's starting to interrupt and interfere in my life, in my relationships. So we come together because of this common problem. And in the coming together, we find a common solution. So when we come together with a common problem, we can find a common solution, and we can do it together. And we're supposed to be together. Like since the dawn of, since the beginning of humankind, we were in tribes of some shape or form, right? We're not supposed to go about this alone. We need each other. We all bring a different thing to the table. We all bring something unique. We all have our unique thoughts, our unique perspectives, our unique experiences, but the common thing is our feelings underneath it all. So we come together with a common problem, and then we find a common solution. Through the fellowship of 12-step programs, many of us discover that although we may have felt alone in our pain, there we go in the feeling, right? We feel alone in that pain, and because we start to isolate in our thoughts, and we're not talking about it out loud, and we start to, feel ashamed or maybe embarrassed about what's going on, so we don't talk about it, and we don't want to show the world that we don't have our shit together. Like that's a bunch of bull crap, because no one really has their shit together. We're all struggling with something. We're all on this human journey, and it's meant to have road bumps and stuff that we work through, and problems. We're supposed to get problems, because the more problems we solve, the more success we have, right? And the more we grow and evolve. So we may have felt alone in our pain. Others have experienced similar suffering. Once we start talking about it, we realize, oh my God, I'm not alone. Others are feeling this too. So, and now many are joining hands in a similar recovery. So we recognize that we're not alone in our pain, even though we felt that way. We recognize others are experiencing some similar sufferings, and then we can join hands and have a similar recovery. A significant part of recovery, a shared experience, a shared strength. Stronger for the sharing. The more we share, the strong we get. It's like an army, that when everyone's working on the same team and having aiming for the same goal, we can work together, and we're stronger because of it. So we get that shared strength from each other, and we get stronger with our sharing. A shared hope for better lives and relationships. So we also share that hope, and then we get to beam that off each other. Here's your prayer for today. Today, I will be grateful for the many people across the world who call themselves recovering codependents. Be grateful for all the people around the world that are calling themselves, that are claiming, I am a recovering codependent, or I'm a recovering alcoholic, or I'm a recovering gambler, or I'm a recovering overeater, whatever it may be. Be grateful for those many people that have claimed that, because if they're saying it out loud, then we can join hands with them and know we're not alone. So today I will be grateful for the many people across the world who call themselves recovering people. Let's say that. Help me know that each time one of us takes a step forward, we pull the entire group forward. So when we get better, others around us get better, is what they're saying there. So I'm going to incorporate a breath work here. So what this is expanding love. So this breath work, what we're going to do is recognize that, you know, when we're feeling like maybe inadequate or unaccepted, or maybe we're feeling the not enoughs, or maybe we're feeling insufficient, or maybe we're feeling hopelessness, or like we got to go this alone, or something like that. Okay, so if you're feeling any kind of disturbing emotion that's pulling you down, a darkness, then we can do embracing love breath work. So what I would like you to do is, in other videos I've talked about the anchor points. I'm not going to go into too much detail here. I want to keep this kind of short. So we're going to work with 3 main core anchor points right now. So one is Mula Bandha. So that's in the base of your spine. So if you can, we want to squeeze this area. So you can imagine if you're going to the washroom and then you stop the stream suddenly. So you squeeze that area. Okay. So we're going to squeeze that area. And that's our first anchor point. The second anchor point is in your heart. So the way to squeeze the heart anchor point is to roll your shoulders up, down, and back, and squeeze the shoulder blades and feel that spot by the spine. So that's your second anchor point. And the third anchor point we're going to use is your third eye anchor point. So that's behind the eyes. So what you're going to do is you're going to close your eyes and roll your eyes up and back, up and back, up and back, and then feel that spot. You're going to feel the muscles. There's a tension in there when you roll your eyes up and back and hold it. So that tension there, that's right in the center of the skull, in the center of the brain. That's where your pituitary gland is. And there's a bunch of cool stuff I can talk about in another video about going on there. So that's your third anchor point. So we're going to squeeze Mula Bandha. We're going to squeeze our heart. And we're going to squeeze in that center of the brain at the third eye. Squeeze the Mula Bandha, squeeze the heart, squeeze the third eye. Okay? So those are your 3 anchor points. So now we're going to breathe up through this central channel, I call it. Okay, so we're gonna breathe up from beneath us, from below us. Breathe up. Imagine the air coming up from below you, and squeeze that Mula Bandha as it comes through there. Take another sip of air, squeeze that heart, and another sip of air, and tense that muscle behind, tense those eye muscles behind that, and roll them back, and squeeze in the middle of the head. And then exhale up through the top of your head. And then breathe in from the top of your head. Roll your eyes back. Squeeze that part. Breathe through there. Take another sip of air through your nose. And then squeeze that heart in the middle. Roll the shoulders up, down, and back. And then breathe another sip of air into the Mula Bandha area. And then breathe out down through into the earth. Okay? So now that we've just opened the central channel, and now what we're going to do is the loving, and is expanding love. So what you're going to do is breathe up from the ground, and then hold it in between the Mula Bandha and your heart space. Hold it in there. Take another breath and make it expand inside that space in between your heart and your Mula Bandha. So you're opening into the belly, into the chest. Take another sip. Make it big. Everything's expanding inside your belly. Now take another sip of air and imagine it expanding outside of your body. Outside of your body with another sip. Bigger and bigger and bigger, bigger, bigger. And exhale out to the world, out to all around you, everywhere around you. And inhale in from all around you. Inhale in, and feel it coming in between your heart and your Mula Bandha. And feel that expanding inside of you, and exhale down through the earth. So what now we're doing with that breath is expanding ourselves into the greater, And now in that space that we've just opened up in ourselves into the greater, I want you to center your mind into that space and think of something you love. It could be your pet, or your partner, or your mother, or your father, or a good friend, or it could be a sunset. And I want you to close your eyes and envision that thing you love. Just pick anything that you super duper love without any thought. You just love it. You just love it. Think of that thing. I'm going to think of my puppy. Okay, think of that love. Think of that love and think of that space inside of your body. Think of that love and feel it. Feel what that does to your body. Does it tingle in your body? Does it make you relax everywhere? Does it give you a feeling of openness? Whatever that feeling is for you, for me, it gives me a feeling of openness and relaxed. And now I want you to times that by 2. Make it bigger. That feeling, make that feeling bigger inside of you. Make it bigger. Think of that thing you love. Think of that, feel that sensation in your body or whatever that comes up for you as you feel that love, the feeling in your body, feel that and double it again. And double it, bigger than your body, double it. Think of it, and the feeling of love, that feeling it gives you. You can't stop but smile when I do this. And now double that again. It's like all around you. Imagine it filling up the room all around you. And now double it again and feel it filling up the city around you. Feel it filling up the country around you. Just expand that out and double it. And double it till you feel it like everywhere. You can just sense that you are making this love. You are creating this love and it's going everywhere. Sense it. Sense it. And now I want you to recognize that this is all for me and bring it all back. Bring all of that love that you just expanded out everywhere. Bring it all back into this central channel of your body that we just opened up. Bring it all back and recognize this is for me and say that this is all for me. This is all for me. This is all for me. And you can just do one more central channel breath. Breathing up through the Mula Bandha, up into your heart space, up into your third eye, out the crown of your head, exhale. And breathe in from above your head, into that center of your brain, into your heart. Take another sip into the Mula Bandha and breathe it into the earth. And now feel your body. Feel your body and feel the smile on your face. Feel the sensations in your body and recognize you did that. You created it. You always have the ability to create love. It's all in you. It's up to you. That's it. Thanks for watching, everybody. Please give me a thumbs up. Hit the subscribe if you like this video. Leave a comment. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And I love you all. Thank you for being on the journey with me. We do this together. Namaste.